Anyway, welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast.
I freaking love this shirt.
I love that shirt on you. I love it for you.
Welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast.
Thank you. Welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast.
No! Welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast!
Comic Bros podcast. Welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast.
Yes.
Thank you for listening. We will see you next week.
Why buy a comic that might cost more than a dime? Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
We have a lot of news this week, so we should probably just...
We should introduce ourselves first.
I'm Colin.
Hi, Colin.
How
Hi,
long have you been
Jacob.
sober?
No, how long have you been reading comics?
Ooh, as long as I can't remember.
So...
Yesterday.
A month ago?
Fuck you, Mr. Man. Probably for like 8 years.
Cool.
Wow.
So, Mr. Man, what's your real name?
Spencer.
Hi, Spencer.
I've been reading comics as long as I can remember.
So, yesterday.
I have a better memory than this. So
last month?
Depends.
Ooh, speaking of depends,
I need some.
we are asking our Patreons this month to please donate extra money for our Collins Depends. Apparently, last week he shat himself at work.
I did.
And we set up an extra tier this month only.
$69, and we can get Colin some nice Depends with some stickers on them.
Yes.
Some Dime Comic Bros podcast stickers.
So,
Wait. My name is Jacob.
Yeah,
Hi,
nobody
Jacob.
asked.
Sorry, fine.
You're the one who wants to introduce ourselves.
Hey, we didn't do it for him.
But now we did it, and now we're just going, and this bit is getting really old.
Okay.
Like all of us.
Okay, Two-Face. Okay, half-shaven face. Half-shaven head. Little bald man face. Scrotum head. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
So we have an article
got
from
that too,
DC.
don't
I will start making dinosaur noises.
I've been reading comics for about 10 years.
Wow. Didn't you immediately pick up like the worst things to start with and then got butthurt because you didn't understand what was going on?
Kind of. I mean, some of them, I had like Kingdom Come.
Oh.
I had Dark Knight Returns. What else did I have? There were a couple clunkers, though. Hush.
Ew.
That's a hard one to start with.
Yeah. A couple of Star Wars ones.
Ew. Those are
Yellow lightsabers, baby.
Those are mixed batch.
Yeah, they were. They weren't Bad Batch, though.
So we have our first article from DCComics.com. This October, Batman fans get a new and different look at Gotham's Guardian as he begins his war on crime in Batman the Imposter. A 3-issue prestige format series from DC. The series will debut in print and on participating digital platforms on Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. In addition, the series will be collected in a hardcover format available February 22nd, 2022. Director and screenwriter Mattson Tomlin of Project Power and Little Fish has teamed up with Eisner-winning suspense and horror artist Andrea Sorrentino of Joker, Killer Smile, Batman the Smile Killer, and Green Arrow to create a gritty, hard-boiled version of Gotham City where every punch leaves a broken bone and every action has consequences far, far beyond Batman's imagination. Jeez. Bruce Wayne's mission as the Batman has only been underway for a year or so, but he can already tell he's making a difference. Unfortunately, he's made some powerful enemies. All the traditional power brokers of Gotham resent the disruption the Batman has brought to town, and it seems one of them has a plan to neutralize him. There is a second Batman haunting Gotham's rooftops and alleys, and this one has no qualms about murdering criminals live and on tape.
It's Azrael!
With the entire might of the Gotham City Police Department and Gotham's rich and powerful coming down on his head, Batman must find this imposter and somehow clear his name. But how can you prove your innocence from behind a mask? I really want to read this, but I also have very mixed feelings about it existing in the first place because another dark and gritty detective story is getting a little old. But the creative team looks really good. The cover looks stellar. And it's very The Batman inspired.
I was going to say, I would like to argue that it has been a while, at least since I've read an actual mystery Batman comic. Usually it's just a big adventure or something, but I want him to be the world's greatest detective again, so...
Fair. I'm more interested in the imposter aspect. Like, that just sounds... That hasn't been done somewhat recently
It's
in
definitely
Batman comics.
Azrael.
Anyway. Yeah, you're probably right. Or it's Bullseye! Epic crossover time, baby!
No.
Yikes. Leave the 70s and 80s where they were, in their grave.
With disco.
Actually, I think one of the biggest lies that boomers have ever told us was that disco sucks.
You literally
What?
read that off the internet this past week, and I know,
You know
because
you
I saw
did.
the exact same thing.
Because you liked it. That's the only reason I saw it.
I have listened to disco, and I truly believe it sucks.
I think
Well,
you
you're a
listened
boomer.
Well, you know,
But I
a
am
lot
not
of
lying
rock
when I
has-
say disco sucks!
there's a... I'm actually not going to get into the discussion because there's disco in your music, and you don't even realize it.
Actually, Jacob. Colin, do you have any thoughts on Batman Sus?
So, on topic of the Sussy Baka, I think I'm with Jacob a little bit. I haven't really read many, like, just Batman as detective, which I enjoy a lot, and I'd rather just see him being more human, I guess, and detective-y than this, like, super master of kung fu that he is in, like, almost any DC comic or movie, like when he's with the Justice League, or even when he has, like, sidekicks and shit.
I know kung fu!
I'm a kung fu fighting. From DC.com, from DCComics.com, with a resume that includes successful and critically acclaimed titles such as The Omega Men, Mr. Miracle, Rorschach, and Strange Adventures, best-selling writer Tom King definitely has a magic touch when it comes to plumbing the depths of the DC universe and reimagining characters for a new generation of fans. On November 2nd, King and artist Greg Smallwood create a new legacy for DC's Deadliest Bodyguard in Human Target, a 12-issue limited series based on the character co-created by Len Wein and Carmine Infantino. Christopher Chance has made a living out of being a human target, a man hired to disguise himself as his client to invite would-be assassins to attempt his murder. He's had a remarkable career until his latest case protecting Lex Luthor when things go sideways. An assassin attempt Chance didn't see coming leaves him vulnerable and left trying to solve his own murder. As he has 12 days to discover just who in the DCU hated Luthor enough to want him dead, the DC Universe meets gritty detective noir in this DC Black Label series by two of comics' most celebrated talents. Who doesn't want to kill Lex Luthor?
True. Do we want to just flat out predict anything off of this? Just throw out some random idea on who
So
it
is this like a new character?
No, it's a reimagining of a prior character invented by Len Wein and Carmine Infantino. You literally read it.
Just because I read it doesn't mean any of it registered.
True.
Same.
Um,
I'm
So it's-
currently rereading it right now because I wasn't listening.
yeah. I have to read it in my head, not out loud,
Yes.
to understand.
Yep.
Let Tom King touch all the limited series he wants.
I bet
All of-
Deadshot will be involved.
Interesting.
Some way or form.
Huntress will be back.
I think it's Lois Lane.
Like, that tries to kill him?
Yep. Anyways,
I think it's-
let King have every limited series and all the Black Label stuff. Just don't put him on an ongoing book and we're good.
I think it's James.
Gordon?
No.
Olsen.
Yes.
Ooh. Spicy.
As a spy.
Ooh.
Secret agent, like BVS.
From DCComics.com. As both a writer and an artist, Cliff Chiang has left an indelible mark on the DC universe, from his celebrated work with Brian Azzarello on Wonder Woman to Zatanna, Green Arrow, and Black Canary, and Batman Black and White, among others. Those were two ands in the list. Anyway, his next great DC series, Catwoman, Lonely City, arrives... I had it until Colin giggled. Freaking Colin, man.
Oh, God.
You said my name but wrong.
I was more thinking Lonely Colon.
Catwoman, Lonely City arrives in comic book stores and on participating digital platforms on October 19th, spotlighting Selina Kyle in a world with no Batman to protect it. 10 years ago, the massacre known as Fool's Night claimed the lives of Batman, the Joker, Nightwing, and Commissioner Gordon, and sent Selina Kyle, the Catwoman, to prison. A decade later, Gotham has grown up. It's put away costumed heroism and villainy as childish things. The new Gotham is cleaner, safer, and a lot less free under the watchful eye of Mayor Harvey Dent and his Bat Cops. Into this new city that Selina Kyle returns, a changed woman, with her mind on that one last big score, the secrets hidden inside the Batcave. She doesn't need the money, she just needs to know who is Orpheus. Chiang writes, draws, colors, and letters each of the 4 48-page Prestige plus Platinum Edition format issues that make up this DC Black Label series. Catwoman, Lonely City is poised to be the kind of next-level storytelling that will change the way that fans see Gotham City, its heroes, and its villains forever.
I'm super excited for this, honestly.
Bat Cops.
I was going to comment on that because that seems to be leading in from the end of the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo run when they were making all the Bat Cops. So is it a reference to that, or if it's...
I didn't know that was happening because I haven't read it yet.
I know, I lent it to you a month ago.
That's happened in a couple of different things
no, you
recently, so I think that's just a general point that's relevant in the late 2010s
Just part of
to early...
canon.
Yeah, it's just like a general discussion. I also love the fact that every time you say a subtitle, you always say colon, even though you really don't need to.
Or semicolon. Or hyphen. I take it literal.
I will semi-put my arm up your ass.
Semi-automatic. And life's so traumatic. Wish my dick was elastic.
We are not on the same page today, and it's bothering me. I am the worm in your head.
I know.
Where are you in the void?
Currently, he is the worm up your ass.
I'm gone right now.
Any more thoughts on that at all?
No, not really.
Wow.
It's interesting that Catwoman has a solo series. We kind of saw that with Catwoman when in Rome or whatever, but she wasn't really alone, so we'll see.
From DCComics.com. This October, the DC Universe gets a whole lot scarier. I had to do it.
1 hour later.
I got scary.
Oh my gosh, we're never gonna make it through this.
We haven't. Go.
Shush.
Go. I gotta. There's a whole lot of scarier. The Task Force Z and DCV versus vampires.
2 hours later.
I'm gonna read it.
You can't record it when I'm laughing.
We got Kron
Get out!
Scrotum Head over here.
Stop.
Scrotum Conqueror. Shut the up, you goblin!
I think you need to stop. You keep him going.
Feed into him.
You're the worm inside his head tonight.
3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
From DCComics.com, this October, the DC Universe gets a whole lot scarier with Task Force Z and DC vs. Vampires. Writer Matthew Rosenberg, The Joker presents a puzzle box. 4 kids walk into a bank, is dragging some of Gotham City's most dangerous villains back from the dead to earn a second chance at life in Task Force Z.
But the undead aren't contained in Gotham. In DC vs. Vampires, Rosenberg has teamed up with writer James Tynion IV of The Nice House on the Lake and Something is Killing the Children for a 12-issue maxi series where the Justice League discovers that, while they've been monitoring the skies for intergalactic threats, a new enemy has been hiding on Earth all along.
On A-Day, hundreds of Gotham City's most dangerous and deranged criminals were left dead after an attack on Arkham Asylum, and now they're getting a second chance at life. A mysterious benefactor is bringing together a new task force and has recruited the only person who could lead them, someone who knows what it's like to come back from a brutal death. Red Hood. Now Jason Todd has to unravel the mystery surrounding this team of the recently deceased while leading a lineup of some of Gotham City's worst criminals who've ever lived. Bane. 2 sudden introductions there. Wow. Who've ever lived. Bane. Man-Bat. The Arkham Knight. Sundowner. Mr. Bloom.
And
I love the energy.
In the tradition of Deceased comes a new terrifying story from the minds of James Tynion IV, Matthew Rosenberg, and Otto Schmidt of Future State Catwoman. DC vs. Vampires is a special standalone 12-issue maxi series that will pit the Justice League against a secret army of vampires, leaving our heroes unsure of who they can trust. I am stupidly stoked for both of these.
I don't give a
What the hell's wrong with you?
I'm so sick of vampires.
I wish they had wrapped up Deceased before going into DC versus Vampire stuff. Like,
That's fair, actually, because I believe he has one more book, and then it'll be done.
it seems like they kind of try and ride the wave. And I don't like that. Finish the good series first.
Ride the cum wave.
Marvel Studios' Loki will return for Season 2, streaming exclusively on Disney+. At the end of Episode 6, For All Time, Always, the end credit scene reveals that Loki will be back for more adventures in the future. I am so grateful that we get to do Season 1. I still am not quite able to process that we got to have another go at this. I am so excited by the possibilities, star Tom Hiddleston tells Marvels.com. We are already in discussions, deep discussions. I can't wait to get started. Loki Season 1's showrunner and director Kate Herron confirmed she was never planning on being attached to Season 2 and will not be returning in any capacity, but is very pleased with her time working with Marvel Studios. What end credit scene?
It had the little Loki will return in Season 2.
Oh.
It was nothing crazy, but you know, like
It
a
was,
lot of the
like,
movies
on a
and
file.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
see it.
It was lame.
Oh.
I thought it was fine. It's better than the white text of Spider-Man will return and
Yeah, it
Thanos
was-
will return.
Or James Bond will return and whatever.
Yeah, so that was fine. I feel like we probably shouldn't discuss this because we have to talk about the actual episode.
Yeah, I don't really care, so let's not.
Okay, cool.
I haven't.
Titans Season 3, full trailer released.
Wow.
Big whoop!
Yes.
So the guy with the hate boner for Titans is mildly excited, and I find that disturbing because Titans is like my abusive ex. They're pretty. They know what they know how to make a trailer and edit some posters, and I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna be confident, and it's gonna be crap again. But it's kind of inevitable. So that is the end of the news.
Thank God.
Why are you looking at me with your sultry eyes?
Please stop.
Because I'm so sick of this.
So they're your bedroom eyes.
Ooh.
You want to leave Spencer to do the rest of the show?
Oh god.
Yeah,
Let's go.
that would suck.
No. Thanks.
No, it's just, you wouldn't have, actually, you might have retard energy.
Yeah, when I'm by myself, yeah.
Yeah, when I'm by myself, yeah.
So our main topic this week is Blade 2, that is with the Roman numerals. It is a 2002 American superhero horror film directed by Guillermo del Toro and written by David S. Goyer. The film follows the human-vampire hybrid Blade in his continuing effort to protect humans from vampires, finding himself in a fierce battle against a group of mutant vampires who seek to commit global genocide of both vampire and human races. Blade and his human allies are coerced into joining forces with a special elite group of vampires.
I really liked it
Why?
until
Ooh.
we got until the kinky BDSM guys got shiny black BDSM armor. That's when I started getting bored.
I thought it was more like Power Ranger armor, but, you know.
It's like Bible Man armor, but BDSM. So, like,
Kinky
Yikes.
man.
yeah, kinky man.
Yeah, that's a weird image in my brain. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's not Bible Man, it's BDSM Man.
can't unsee that now.
Yeah, I have that in my brain. He's got like a red lightsaber instead of yellow.
Oh my gosh.
He's got like a lightsaber whip. Oh, and he's got like those
red vibrator.
he's got stockings on, and those like weird like whatever they are the laces.
Oh my god, please stop.
But
Right off the bat, the action and choreography and effects generally are so much better this time around.
Yes.
There's
Faux shizzle.
a lot more fight scenes, I think, and
Less quick cutty.
each one of them is way more interesting than anything we had in the first movie.
A lot of
Except-
really nice Matrix-inspired fight scenes.
Definitely the higher budget was showing on that one. There's
Yes.
a lot of like fully CG shots, and they didn't age super well, but they look cool.
But the thing was, the ones that like were the best were the ones that counted, though. Like
Yeah.
you could tell that the very last shot when our main villain died, that was most of their budget right there.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of like, whoa, that looks like modern day shit right there, like
Yeah,
stuff
there
we
was-
already do, and then the rest of it's like a little downgraded, but it was fine for its time.
It was the visual effects were done very well, and in the manner that does age well. It's just a matter of they are older; they're naturally going to
Yeah, of course.
not look as good, but they were well crafted and in ways that it kept them from aging as much. I thought the match shots, like in particular, with like switching from a CG double to a just normal shot, I actually thought those were really impressive.
Those are
usually
really
those
good.
you do in a literal cut or like
Yeah.
generic moving behind a wall or a pillar. That one's just like straight up CG drops down and now he's real. Like stuff we do now with no thought behind it. And
Yeah.
those were actually pretty freaking cool.
Yep.
I was very annoyed with the inconsistency of how people died. Like the burning, like how fast or how slow or how much how much sun they could allow on their body.
Because they get a vampire flashbang that just emits sunlight and kills vampires near the end of the movie.
Nice crispy bacon.
Yes.
Ripe
Well, it's
tomatoes.
because the first guys that we saw, they like exploded instantly. The first vampires that we saw in the beginning of the movie, and then as we kept going, they started dying slower and slower.
Well, you see, there's this thing called plot armor, and it's required for all motion pictures.
Yeah,
And video games.
Also true.
this is true.
Spencer?
I just like Blade, honestly. It's something I was kind of ranting about.
Wesley Snipes is awesome.
Also
Yes.
true. Something I was ranting about a little bit at the beginning of the movie is I was born in 2000, and I kind of I have a nostalgic feeling for late 90s, early 2000s superhero action horror movies. The things nowadays that I hate, like the Resident Evils and the whatevers, there's stuff like that I really do hate, but there is a aesthetic sense of nostalgia with the large amounts of leather and the constant red lights and the bisexual lighting all the time and stuff like that I do find interesting.
The what lighting?
It's bisexual light. When you have two sources of two different colored lights, generally speaking, the reason why it's called that is because it's usually blue and red, so it looks purple, and that's literally the flag. But usually it's like the two different forms of fill lighting, so like...
Are you saying bisexual just because?
No, that's literally what it's called.
I had not heard this.
Okay, me neither.
Interesting.
It's a real thing. I'm
No,
not just...
don't
being-
look it
I
up.
get-
Don't look it up. We
I can-
believe you.
I-
Holy shit.
Just the general sense of the aesthetic of the time, which in a lot of ways has not aged well at all. People just wearing mesh shirts and everyone has earrings and they wear sunglasses inside, like stuff like that, which is weird. But it's a strong sense of camp, in kind of intentionally, and I miss that in a lot of particularly superhero movies these days. When they're being campy, quite frequently it's a self-parody type camp, or it's just referencing Batman 66, versus stuff at that time was trying to be serious because we had to, be taken serious by the mainstream and stuff, but also was just campy because the movies were campy then.
Yep.
And I like that.
I was going to say that this one felt a lot less campy than the first one was. I mean, there were still a couple of things, like near the end of the movie, after the big fight scene, Discount Jeff Bridges throws Blade's sunglasses to him, and he catches it out of midair like a frisbee and just flicks it onto his face. Like, there's still some camp.
That was awesome.
That was
But-
absolute sex.
That
Yes.
was cinema at its finest.
It is good camp, though.
Oh, that was so good.
This is cinema.
That was great.
So
Just fully CG sunglasses.
it's
flying.
a lot
Oh.
less cringe camp, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of good camp.
It's like, damn, I wish that happened in real life.
It just
Camp.
aged better.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I really like the creature effects.
Those were really good.
There was at least one where Colin was grossed out. He said it went too far.
Usually Colin does
No,
not get grossed
it
out by
it
stuff.
felt too far for me.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's difficult for me to feel like it's
Usually,
too gross.
yeah. Like Jacob, like when we talked about Blade, Jacob was really uncomfortable with how many like exposed needle shots there were.
Yeah.
Because they're really big, like prop needles, and it's just uncomfortable. And I agree with that. This one's got needles. We got fangs. We have, autopsies.
On
Face huggers
so
from
good.
Alien.
Yeah.
Parts of your body opening up and then like these sacs coming out of it in the back.
Oh.
Yeah, sacs in the back,
that was
dude.
gross.
That was nasty.
Yeah, the creature effects have aged magnificently. I think that's the very strong influence of its director. I'm kind of sad he didn't stay for the third installment. I'm also sad he didn't make his Hobbit movies. I'm going to cry myself a river.
It made this movie feel like it was trying to be actually horror instead of the first one, which was just
Edgy.
action. Edgy.
It was yeah.
Yeah.
I can definitely get on board with that. Spooky.
Spook.
What do we think about the mutant vampires? Any,
I thought they were going to be Lycans and was kind of disappointed.
Nah, we're not bringing in them werewolves yet.
Ooh, yet.
They reminded me of blue balls.
They reminded me of facehuggers from Aliens, like a lot.
Blue balled face huggers. Talking about blue balling, Loki finale.
That was sudden.
Wow. That was not a transition at all.
What do you mean? I felt like
He's right, though. I definitely felt blue ball. It felt like it was a fizzle of a finale.
I very strongly disagree with both of you.
Okay, I just like saying blue balled because I keep seeing shit on the internet where they're just like, what the and stupid shit. But no, it makes sense. We got Kang the Conqueror.
I slept through it.
Wow, really?
No.
That was the best part.
It was just, I don't know.
There was way too much suspense.
The show
it took
started
forever.
really well, and I was like, this is going to be better than I thought, and it just went down in quality, or interest, I should say. It went down in interest for me. I got less and less interested. It was like, I don't know, it just felt mediocre overall, and then the ending didn't satisfy me. It, like, the cliffhanger's fine, but it turns out to be just a dude behind the curtain, and it not like an actual name or a villain.
It's not just a dude.
All right, then I definitely slept through it.
And then
It's literally, and then I'm sorry, you go.
He Who Remains is a name from Marvel Comics. It's not as popular of one, and he is kind of merged with Immortus in terms of like not personality but like purpose. But yeah, I can kind of understand the tension going on for a little while too long. I can definitely understand where that's coming from. I was very, I don't want to say enraptured because that's a little too strong of a word. I was not expecting this good of a performance and this quality of a personality coming out of this character.
I thought he was really good.
Because I know I had mentioned that I was annoyed that officially Kang the Conqueror will make his debut in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, stuff I don't care about, in a mostly comedic movie, and I don't think that's a wise choice. But this version of... We're going to just refer to Kang as the easy one because it's like Kang Prime, and then we have all these other variants, whatever.
Yeah, he's the...
They're all the same person, but from different realities / timelines / dimensions. This one being the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain, which we had discussed a few weeks ago. I think we kind of all agreed that was where it was going before it went there. I just liked the way in which the conversation went. The massive exposition dump. I thought it was actually done fairly well. It was a partially visual element. The way in which he utilized time travel himself, I thought was really cool. Whereas it didn't feel like a Doctor Strange ripoff. It didn't feel like that we're utilizing time stone magic, but differently. There's the visual element of the apple, which tied him to the Doctor Strange conversation as well, which I just thought was kind of neat. But like he isn't really moving around in time. He's moving around in physical space. Like he's teleporting, but because he knows exactly what's going to happen and when, blah, 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 because he's run through it so many times and he has all this information. I don't know, I really like that. And I think using the motif of him eating an apple, you can watch it, like, canonically, you can watch him eat the apple in the exact order that he eats it. So it's showing that he's not time traveling himself, he's just moving around in space.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
I don't know, it just, I didn't know where they were going to go with this personality-wise, because in the comics, most of Kang's variants and Kang are just like Space Thanos. They're very grand and...
They're also Tony Stark's kid.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
It's Reed Richards' kid, you degenerate.
No, it's Tony Stark's.
No. There's a version. The Iron Lad isn't a literal child from Tony Stark. He just was semi-adopted temporarily. He's a descendant of Reed Richards.
I didn't like how he played his character at all.
Seriously?
It was so clunky and awkward and weird.
I
usually love weird, but he was like, you make Owen Wilson look like a great actor.
See, that's what I thought I really liked about it, because it didn't feel like, oh, he knows everything. It was more like, this dude's just run it enough times that he just gets it, and he's tired, and we have no clue how old he is, and he's just ready to go and either die or just go do whatever the hell else he wants. And I really liked that sense of, this is a normal, physical human being from a different part in time who just has way
I like
more
that it
knowledge.
was the end is the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know.
We literally just saw the end of the story, and now we're getting like a restart of like what happened.
Yeah, we're getting another multiversal war. And I don't know. I can understand why, but I was just afraid they were going to do Thanos, but he's blue now, and this is very not, because he's kind of right. This version, anyway, is different. He actually has a proper moral question, not like Thanos' moral posturing, whereas in reality he just wanted to kill a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
This one has a point, and he's acting fairly normal about it, and he just wants them to hurry up and make a decision so he can die and commit seppuku. I don't know. I just like it. It gives this guy personality, and it means that this actor we're going to be seeing a lot of, and he's going to have a lot of different personalities.
I know for a fact I had to rewatch it. As soon as I finished it, I was like, this is not going to go well when I talk about it, because I was just not into it. I don't know why.
I understand why. Like, I can totally see why, because I was getting bored. Because I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then there's too much suspense for me. There's too much tension. It just took forever, where all I saw was Loki and Sylvie standing around holding their swords incorrectly.
And talking, and talking, and talking, and talking. It definitely felt like a huge exposition dump.
I thought it was
it's a really important one that we've been waiting the whole season for, but...
I'm okay with him talking. It was... You are, as a reader or as a watcher, okay with people talking, as long as there are things visually happening, and there wasn't much visually happening.
Nope.
And that's probably why you're...
Him having the little, like, Kangs on the desk wasn't enough?
No. That was where it got good. I was talking about between that.
I guess that's fair.
There was a spot in between that where it was taking forever for us to see Kang.
Yep.
That
And the
I can
explanation.
understand that.
So I'm being upfront and saying I definitely tuned out.
Yeah.
But it just didn't... Back to his performance, it felt quirky and offbeat, which can go either way, and I took it as a bad way this time. Like, you know me, and lover of camp, and
Yeah.
freaking Firefly diehard fan and whatever,
Yeah.
but this was just, I don't know, he seemed like he was struggling to act.
I don't know. Apparently he did a bit of improv that they ended up using. I don't know. I thought it was kind of nice.
I thought it was really good.
I just liked the overall feeling of the episode as kind of the blue balling that you're talking about, in the sense of he's not the big bad that we're waiting for, which we kind of knew anyways.
He's the guy keeping us away from the big bad.
Exactly. I liked that because it was what I was thinking was going to happen anyway. But I like how it's... he tells them who he is. Like, he doesn't have another name. He is just He Who Remains. But that never feels like it's enough, because we outside of the media know who else is coming. We know the name of the primary person, but they don't talk about it because it's not really relevant, because they all have different names. They're all different variants from different parts in time and whatever.
Part of the blue balling, too, is we found out who but it didn't. It ended on a huge cliffhanger. Like, they explained why and they explained who, but there was no what
His costume.
after that, besides the deviation of timelines or whatever.
Yeah, I guess.
The
It all went
statue
to
at the end, we got to see the statue of Kang. He has Kang's armor, not the helmet, but like
Yeah.
he has his costume from the comics, and I
Yeah.
really liked that. But I don't like how the TVA. So it's a fixed point in time, correct? Like as we know it, as we were explained,
As we were told.
it's a fixed point in time, and when he got sent back to the TVA by her, by Sylvie, it should have been the TVA that we had before. But now there is more than one TVA. So
The-
instead of it being a fixed point in time, is it just... maybe I'm looking too much into it,
It
and it's just
wasn't.
because multiverse.
It was a lie.
Yeah.
It's not. It's somewhere outside of the primary flow of time, but it's not an actual outside everything. Almost entirely everything that they do is a fabrication that he's putting up as a front because of all the various reasons.
You
So
know-
he gets sent into this other version in one of the timelines where he never came in contact with Mobius and B-15.
Yep.
There we go. The last episode, I finally remember her name.
I kept calling her B12, but that's a vitamin.
B-52.
B-69.
Okay,
Nice.
so actually it does make sense for Kang to be in the Ant-Man movie. It makes sense because if the theory is correct that TVA is in the quantum realm,
Yeah.
that's why it would make sense because the TVA is in the quantum realm, so that we would find Kang through Ant-Man through being in the quantum realm.
I understand it.
Colin called that one from episode 1.
Yeah, I did call that. From,
You did. I understand like the canonical reason why, but it's the same thing that I complained about in between Infinity War and Endgame when we were going over like how they could time travel to fix the problem. And it was, what if they used the quantum crap from Ant-Man and then everyone went, yay! And they did it and I went, great. I liked how it was executed. I just don't like drawing in major huge plot points from movies that are apparently not as important, light, fair, blah, 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 whatever. You can have that, and that's fine. I disagree with how they do it. But then pulling in huge plot points from those is kind of bullshit.
They kind of do that in the comics anyway.
And I don't
know.
like that either. I don't think it's good storytelling.
I think that's a you thing, but
for sure.
moving on. Word
Word dog.
dog word, Ryloth, War on Ryloth.
Star Wars Bad Batch Episode 12.
I did not watch this episode, so I'm going to take a pee-pee break so I don't hear spoilers.
Word dog.
Word dog,
Wow.
Ryloth be bunnies.
Battle the time.
Ooh.
Jacob physically just left.
Bye, have a great time.
Okay, so I really liked the child teamwork between they're just I like when kids in Star Wars do stuff.
Technically, all the characters were kids.
Also true.
They're both the two kids physically are 10, but the clones are also probably 10. They're probably like younger than her.
Oh, they are because they're the next generation of clones. But yeah, no. I like the fact that Omega and Hera are roughly between like 8 and 11. But they're very different, like size-wise. But they
Yeah.
both feel right. It just is like, oh, okay, this one kid started hitting puberty first type deal.
Yes.
But mentally they're on like the same wavelength.
Yes.
I don't know. I like that.
I like how not all the kids are the same height.
Yes.
Like how the younglings were in Clone Wars.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that was
like
probably
weird.
just animation but
logic.
anyway.
But yeah. It feels like that was done in a way that is more conductive to like better fan service. I can understand why some people are getting a little because the past like 3 episodes have had a lot of fan service in them. I get it. My overall feeling on that is more so that this show is acting entirely as a bridge between the 2 other animated shows.
Yes.
Not as it's Clone Wars Season 8 or it's a Rebels prequel. It is literally you watch Clone Wars all the way through, you watch Bad Batch all the way through, and then you watch Rebels all the way through, and you get this huge story, and it feels more like the anthology type of setup that Clone Wars had just because of how it's like spaced out
Yeah.
but through the whole thing. And I don't know, I like that.
I think I agree with with you, but like for the longest time, I was saying that, oh yeah, this is just season 8 Clone Wars, not as a diss.
No, not
but
at
just
all.
like basically Dave Filoni just wanted to make Clone Wars, but not change the 66 hours of Clone Wars.
Yeah, no,
because it makes
absolutely.
sense to keep it 66.
Nice. Yeah, no,
Nice.
I definitely agree. It wasn't meant as a diss, but I feel like now we can expand that to be more inclusive of all 3 shows kind of back to back.
Yeah,
And
because
it also
Bad Batch is literally Bad Batch. Like, even though they are clones and they have clone armor, they are not like
They're very-
clone from
exactly.
Clone Wars. They're not regs.
right, but also we do have a lot of regs in this show. As this episode
But
had
they barely have any personality except for like the captains and such.
yes, true. But on that point, Order 66 is getting confusing now because this
Yeah.
show is showing that it seemingly when we watched it happen in Clone Wars and then at the beginning of Bad Batch, it was seemingly like a near robotic override of their brains,
Yeah.
almost. Now we're seeing like the after effects of Order 66, whereas it seems like all the different clones have different like capabilities of resisting it, whether it's I don't know, clone material, they're higher quality, so they have better brains or whatever. Like, it seems like each clone deals with Order 66 in a different way, because half of the clones at the end of this episode are able to essentially commit mutiny and just stop fighting for the Empire.
I see what you're saying, but I think it's mainly they are designed to follow orders, but I think mainly it was only Order 66 that was like no possible way of you not following orders, because we have been shown in Clone Wars clones not following orders when that two double-sided wielding lightsaber Jedi dumbass was pitting them against each other and they did a mutiny against him. That showed us that they are able to resist commands, just not like Order 66 or certain ones that are physically hardwired, but also we could have it as because first generation are probably hardwired better than the other generations, because we were told by the Caminos that as they keep making clones, the DNA becomes less and less potent, or however you want to say it. So maybe that also is with that like genetic modification in that.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Was it doesn't really matter. I appreciate that it's just adding more nuance to it on the whole, but it could be maybe certain battalions, because of either their genetic predisposition or potentially maybe their leadership, like over time. You know, the 501st being led by Rex for ages seemed to have had some difficulty during Order 66. They all ended up following it, which is kind of lame, but like potentially them having a more outspoken personality-wise, like leader might have like soft programming, like behavioral changes type deal. I don't know. I don't really care. I just think it's an interesting conversation.
Yeah, because Order 66 is specifically Jedis. That is one thing they have flat out was like,
yes,
it's just Jedis.
But then that did continue after Order 66 when we had that first, the really long episode at the beginning, where they're still kind of acting like robots for a while afterwards.
Yes, most of them are still acting like robots.
So it doesn't really matter. It's just it's nice.
It's an interesting thought.
Yeah. Any thoughts on this episode, really?
Hera's mom is mommy.
Yes. This book also kind of sets up Lords of the Sith, which is one of the novels, so I thought that was kind of nice. It's not a huge one. It's a really good book.
Rings a bell.
I think it was one of the first ones that came out as soon as Disney bought them. It was pretty good. The audiobook, as always, is great. The flying bit was really funny. Like when Hera's like, "Oh, we're getting a hang of this," and then Tech's just like, "Yeah, sure, kid. Your erratic flying is confusing us as much as them."
Yes, I loved that.
Genuine laugh, like big ol' dying on the floor, crying.
I was
shitted
laughing.
and coomed myself. Just absolutely dying. Excellent joke. And I like the fact that we're finally getting to like the manhunt element of Crosshair like chasing down and trying to take care of the rest of the Bad Batch that we were excited about at the beginning and then kind of didn't happen. It's like kind of happened, but just unintentional.
I hate Crosshair. He pisses me off.
Do we think he's going to turn and get a redemption arc?
I think the only way he's going to be able to get a redemption is if he dies. I think he should be that type of character where he has to die for them
Maybe.
to be redeemed. He can't be with them again.
Well, I don't mean that would he be accepted back in. I mean more like, will he break rank? Because it looked like when he's like, oh, permission to do the hunting and the killing, and then, you know, the Imperial dickhead's like, oh, permission granted. It looked like he was almost kind of sad for a minute. He looked normal, crosshair, angry, stupid, salty boy. But it looked like there was a mild look of regret on his face, like just a little bit. I don't know. I could have been reading into it. But
I think you're reading into it because he just has that face.
also true. So moving on, Jacob,
My turn.
what have you been doing, my G?
I've been putting this review off
Oh yeah.
because I loved every single minute of reading this book. And when I finished it, I was like, wow, what a great book. 100% worth every penny. But I literally have 3 sentences of review for this book because it just, I don't know. I don't have much to say. So I read Absolute Carnage, the Omnibus from 2020.
There will be carnage.
Mostly written by Donny Cates. It has, let me look. Hang on. It's right here. There we go. It includes Venom 16 through 20, of course, Absolute Carnage 1 through 5, a whole bunch of Absolute Carnage spin-offs, and also a couple Venom one-off issues. The artwork is absolutely amazing. I've already ranted about Venom and how quickly it hooked me and brought me in, and like every issue or every other issue just keeps getting better and better and better and crazier and more epic. It just does not slow down.
That Ryan Stegman guy's got his crap put together.
So does Donny Cates.
Oh,
honestly,
yeah.
It's just an amazing pairing. It felt like an increase in quality for the artwork for Absolute Carnage's 5 issues.
Nice.
It was freaking 4K comics.
Ooh. I've read some 720p comics lately, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
They're locked at like 15 frames. It's pretty lame.
No. Dark Knight Strikes Again was 15 frames at like 240p.
That was 13-bit.
Yes.
I would say 8-bit.
4-bit. 1-bit!
64 bits, 32 bits, 16 bits, 8 bits, 4 bits, 2 bits, 1 bit!
Anyway, everything else was really, really good, just slightly less. The one that sticks out in my mind is the Scream 4 issues. That one, the artwork was streaky.
Motion blur.
No, like melted crayon, or like if you were swimming in paint in a pool and got out and you were walking around in the rain.
Drippy.
Yes. It wasn't, I'm not saying it was bad, it's just different. It was visually different, and it was really interesting, and I think that helps make the spin-offs stick out from the rest of the run. I don't want everything to be uniform across the thing. Like, I can remember that Scream was different because it had unique artwork, and it was only 4 issues, so I can't even say it was good or bad. Like, it was good that it was unique because it was only 4 issues.
Did she scream?
I think so.
Was there a Shriek spinoff?
I don't think so.
So did she do the shrieking for Shriek?
Maybe.
Nice.
You'll have to borrow the book and read it for yourself.
Apparently, she did the streaking for them both.
The one-offs were really good. I believe that there was one spin-off that I was like, could have done without that one. Everything else was really good. It took place in its own space, in its own time. It added, a little bit of detail to the overall story, but it didn't feel like they were wasting my time and just filling the book with pages. It was good. It was very good. it felt like when I was reading War of the Realms, like half of it probably could have been cut, and they were just trying to sell books. This felt like each included issue was at least mildly important to the story. It added detail. It was good to include. I didn't feel like I was wasting my time reading it.
Nice.
The only thing that might be an issue for some people. Yes, I'm looking at Spencer as I say that.
Thanks.
And he knew it full well.
I always know it's me you're talking about.
Is the order that the issues are in the book. So it's in alphabetical order, mostly. It's not in chronological order. It's in series order. So you have like Absolute Carnage 1 through 5, and then Venom, whatever I said, 18 through 22 or whatever. Absolute Carnage spin-off 1 through 4, and then Absolute Carnage spin-off 1 through 4, and then the Venom one-offs. So I really hope Spencer's going to post the picture that I sent him a little while ago, where I had about 12 bookmarks in this omnibus, with each tab labeled series by the series name, because I had to jump all around to read it in chronological order.
This book, when I inevitably get to reading it, is going to make me kill myself.
So it didn't bother me. I'm okay with this order. I didn't mind going into it and having to have my own system of bookmarks that are properly labeled.
If it's an omnibus, you should be able to read it in order.
I understand the order. People are going to get butthurt about how it is.
My butt does hurt. This chair is really uncomfortable.
The back of the book, I believe, says it is worth $100. I believe that is what I paid for it, and I firmly believe it is worth every penny.
Firm buns.
All right.
So, Colin, what did you do this week?
I read Batman Earth 1.
Nice.
Yep, Batman Earth 1, Volume 1.
Yeah, baby.
So, the synopsis is Bruce Wayne is the 8-year-old son of Dr. Thomas Wayne, a mayoral candidate for Gotham City, and Martha Wayne, nee Arkham. After receiving death threats, Thomas contracts his friend Alfred Pennyworth to become the head of security at Wayne Manor. During an outgoing with his parents, Bruce is taken hostage by a mugger.
It's Batman origin story. Yay.
It's a Batman origin story. I love Batman origin stories. Like, almost any one of them I enjoy. I can't not enjoy them.
I do love watching the Waynes get shot.
I do. It warms my heart.
Brings me pleasure every day.
Yeah, it brings air to my lungs, you know? Really.
No, I'm so sick of reading them getting shot and watching every movie where they get shot. We know. Go ahead.
But what if...
Are you one of those people?
He is.
Damn!
What if the Joker did it? Before
I'm sick of that theory, too.
Oh,
It was Joe
Batman
Show.
89.
Have you
But
ever
what if it
danced
was
with the
Bruce
devil in the
Wayne's
moonlight?
fault? Honestly, that line's kind of great. There's some parts of that movie that are really good.
Yes.
Anyway,
What if it was Bruce's fault?
Anyway, this is a universe where Bruce Wayne is basically the cause of his parents' death. Alfred is not initially a butler, but tells Bruce Wayne that he's a butler as a child. And Bruce Wayne is just a guy in a bat costume jumping off of rooftops.
Yes.
He's not trained. He doesn't know all these stupid martial arts and all this stupid shit. He has shitty gadgets that he makes himself, and Alfred's the one that taught him how to box. So I really like this iteration of Batman. It actually feels different to me, not in a realistic world sense, but in a... like I said before about when we were talking about the news with Batman, I am enjoying seeing Batman as just like a noir character, a detective, a human, instead of this like superhero. And it feels like they brought him back to like Batman in his like 30 in the 30s, like 1930s.
Yeah.
Where he was just a man jumping off rooftops trying to stop bad guys with a gun. Also, I really enjoy that Bruce Wayne is the descendant of Arkham, and of the Waynes. I haven't seen that before, and I don't know if that's anywhere else. But it just adds to the thought of Batman being actually insane and just like a up traumatized child.
He was in White Knight.
Yes.
Well, I meant like
yeah.
and
I think
that,
it
in that
is
one he's
only
not
these two things that I can remember it ever being.
in White Knight. Batman's not a Wayne, but in this he is Wayne and Arkham.
Don't they imply it in the Arkham Asylum video game?
That he's a
No.
I'm trying to remember. I think there's an Arkham Asylum centric plot, and I don't remember where it's hinted at.
Well, I mean, it's because
Maybe I'm
when you're
confusing
in,
it for White Knight.
because the Waynes have a memorial. Martha has multiple things in the botanical gardens. I believe she worked there, something like that. Like there's a lot of Wayne relevance, but I don't think
Right.
it's direct because the thing with that is that Quincy Sharp thinks he's Amadeus, and that's where like the logs come from.
Right.
You know, the skinny little scarab bug thingamajiggies.
Oh yeah, no.
I need to play that game again.
I was just gonna say.
Also, I do like that him and Harvey are like not buddies. It's like
Yes.
his bully and just punches him while he's hanging out with his sister.
Yes. That sets up stuff for later, which is pretty
I'm
cool.
excited. Horn Dog.
Bonk.
I don't have any dislikes. Oh, I love that Gordon's like the reason why he's like still a dirty cop is because his wife got murked. He doesn't even know if it's the mayor or not, and it's just like blah, blah, blah. I don't want to f around with all this shit.
I think in the first book in particular, I really appreciate the Gordon and Bullock relationship. I don't think
was
it's
a
followed up
weird-
on well in the other books, but in the first one, I liked that Gordon is in such a place of desperation, whereas he is still a dirty cop, but also I think most of us are usually like, making Gordon a dirty cop defeats the entire purpose because he's supposed to be like the one good cop left or whatever. But this one's like, it gives you
He is a good cop. He just needs someone to push him into fully embracing that, where Batman and Bullock do.
Yeah, it convinces. It gives you a convincing reason why he would go about his life the way he is, and it also establishes a really nice tie with Barbara, and I really like that.
Yeah, Bullock being
She's a
horny
nerd.
over Barbara.
That was sketch.
I thought it was a little too soon for Barbara to be drawing her as Batgirl. I was kind of annoyed by that. I like having it like, I don't know, a little bit further out instead of Batman being 28 and she's already thinking about being Batgirl.
This continuity is extremely different and continues to get even weirder. Just so you know, it's
I'm
not
excited
like
for
a
that.
couple of twists on it. It gets weird.
I do dislike one thing actually. So the suit. In the beginning, we get just like a small bat on his chest and everything, blah blah blah. And I get that he gets more gadgets and new shit from Fox, where I love that we keep going that Fox is just like a science dude that the businessmen were like, yeah, just go into this closet and we won't, when you can be here, we'll keep paying you, but just don't do shit.
Yeah.
And I like that. I don't like how they just from one panel to the other, Batman gets a costume change. Like he gets a circle bat. I wish they had a reason for it rather than just having it. I think there is a reason for it, maybe in the next couple volumes, but like
it happens again when he gets a new suit. The shape changes.
That's fine. I'm okay with
There's
that.
nothing more to it.
I'm okay with that. That's whatever.
Yeah,
but like
it's
it just
just
felt
not-
very different. And...
Yeah, I get that. Do you like Cockney asshole Alfred?
Oh, I totally forgot to talk about him. I loved that. Alfred was just like, can you even do it, bro? Like, are you even ready to fight, bro? And then Bruce Wayne just kicks his fake leg out. He's like, holy shit, I think he is.
I feel like that's the most far-reaching thing from this that like spread to other forms of media, because then after this we had this big old resurgence of Alfred, particularly being Cockney and also being a lot more active and a little bit on the younger end. And I'm a big fan of that.
I love that. But also it brings me this very much Batman. I do like that even in the first volume, Batman doesn't get like a Batmobile yet or a Batcycle. He's literally just his rich man car. He's driving around in a Bat costume with his mask off. I love that. And I love that he doesn't even have a Batcave. It's just he's in this spare room in the Wayne Manor that looks like a generic house. It looks like a regular house. And it just has the like armor and everything, like samurai armor and shit like that.
Did you like Birthday Boy?
It gives me very much Batman 1930 and 40s black and white shows.
Yeah, actually,
I watched those growing
those
up,
were really good.
and they were surprisingly good for their time. I would still rewatch them.
I still think they hold up pretty well. I think I have one of them around on DVD somewhere.
Yeah, I had both of them, and then I was stupid and I didn't find the value in them as a kid, so I ruined them.
The old serials.
Birthday Boy,
You like Birthday Boy?
he's all right. I didn't really care for it. I thought I wish there was more to it. I wish there was more added to it, but yeah, I'm excited for Riddler though.
Okay. I'm trying not to say a lot because I talked about all three of the books when you weren't here, so my thoughts are already public, but I'm not gonna.
Well, here's the great thing, and
You
I
don't-
said this on Red Sun recording.
You don't remember anything.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember
But
that.
still, you know.
So Spencer,
Yes,
we're
good sir.
almost done, but what did you do this week? Or should I say 2 months ago when you read like 10 things and put it on a list?
So I finished Titans season 2.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby.
Giggity.
So I don't think Colin, were you here when I discussed the first season?
Nope.
Yeah.
Not
In
last
spirit.
week.
Oh, that was last week. So Titan Season 2 has a stronger emotional through line and seems to give a crap about some of its characters but not about others. The plot and story contrivances and extremely forced interpersonal conflicts are painful, but the technical filmmaking has improved somewhat. The action has improved, and that carries a lot of the episodes. The overall structure is garbled and nonsensical, encouraging you to be uninvested in the interesting stuff. There are 2 whole episodes near the end of the season that are 95% flashbacks, and it's hard to place them because the characters' costumes don't change between time periods, with the exception of Robin, and the actors aren't done makeup-wise any different, which isn't usually a problem, but when you are utilizing these, it just doesn't work. Because the technical filmmaking is still really lazy, they make very little effort to explain it's a flashback.
How about the color grading or filter, whatever you bitch about?
The first 2 or 3 episodes was insanely worse than the entirety of last season, and then it got better.
That's because you said they cut the season early, right?
But they reshot it as well.
Oh.
So it doesn't make any sense. They didn't actually cut it, then move it. They cut it, moved it, and then reshot all of that in the break, and then it was dumb. I don't know. So it doesn't explain that. But it's better. It's not good, but it's not as violently blue or green versus everything else. It's just kind of washed out and gray and blue. This is the type of show that should have definitely had a multi-season outline, and its lack of such is designed to make me suffer, personally speaking. Having a team-based show with multiple iterations of a team in different time periods, some of which have the same members on different iterations of the team, you need to have a clear plan on how this is going to work. Stuff like Titans, Teen Titans, and then particularly Young Justice, which has gotten messier in its later season, particularly, demonstrate this even more so. You have to have clear, generations, essentially. And this does, but it also doesn't, because are Hawk and Dove part of the new Titans? No, but they're also there the entire time. It's like the debate of who's actually on the Avengers. There is an actual answer for that. Who is literally registered, who's allowed on the Avengers compound. But in Infinity War and Endgame, it doesn't matter because everyone in the world and galaxy has to fight. So they're all Avengers. It's one of those deals. Mm-hmm. Every conflict is so big that it requires more than the team. So thusly, the team doesn't even serve a purpose. I liked Aqualad. He gave me mildly rapey vibes in the beginning.
Yes.
It felt like that was probably a directorial problem. I'm very confident that was not intentional. He gave me those mildly, very entitled douchey surfer bro.
Yes.
Why,
you're into me, bro.
Yeah, me. So I was watching him. There's a flashback episode of him trying to pursue Wonder Girl, romantically, obviously. They're at his birthday party in Titan's Tower, and he keeps moving closer, and she keeps moving away.
She's uncomfortable by his birthday suit on his birthday.
No. You forgot to bring me a birthday gift on my birthday with a birthday gift. She makes excuses to move around the room and to be further away from him. She physically does stuff, and he keeps getting closer, and then he like puts her into a corner, seemingly unintentionally. It just gives me those, dude, if you were 16, I could understand being really awkward about this, but this, you're supposedly like 22 or whatever. Holy cow, dude, no wonder she doesn't really like you that much. You're coming across very rapey.
Yes.
And that should have been a directorial, how do we direct him to move around this room type of deal. I'm not going to blame that on the actor. And the context later in the episode demonstrates that she did like him and she was just nervous and whatever, and he wasn't supposed to come across rapey. I liked the idea of how Deathstroke was woven into the narrative, but it's so damn messy, and it relies almost entirely on, guys, look, it's Deathstroke, instead of making him an interesting character, demonstrating his skills, not just, he is, like, the most dangerous assassin, guys. Like, you know why we got rid of the Titans last time, guys? You know, Deathstroke's bad, guy. It's so... Because the suit is really limiting, and it's hard to demonstrate his actual physical capabilities, and also the writing's mostly they just don't care. They're using the name and the character, but he's the emotional core of the show. Him, his family, and their relationship to the Titans are this season.
This show is literally everything that's in this is a great idea,
yes,
but the execution is awful. The show.
Pretty much.
Everything's a good idea.
Almost everything, yeah.
Like, every single thing, in my opinion, is a good idea, except for Ghost Batman that is able to...
Uber Speed Batman?
Uber Speed Batman that's able to be in reality and not at all. Like, they don't follow the laws, and even the idea, I think, is bad. Doesn't make sense.
You mean the Batman that's so fast in one season, but then when they actually cast him as an actor, he's like in his 60s, so you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't...
Oh, wait, no, not that, like, his physical abilities, like, that's whatever. I don't give a shit.
Oh,
he could have enhancement. I mean, like, Dick Grayson seeing Batman do things, and it's like, he has schizophrenia. Like, he's
I actually really loved that idea. Not execution. The execution is disgusting.
No.
Because they do some weird Raven's projecting and doing
That's where I was going to get to.
That's
where I thought it was bad because he was able to actually do things in reality.
Yeah, and then they lazily explain it as Raven was doing projection because her powers are getting stronger.
It actually would have made sense
just plainly
if
of
he
him
did actually bring them together.
Yeah, that would have, literally him going, I kind of screwed up, like seemingly what's going to happen in season 3 of him being like, I can't do this anymore. I need all these other cool dweebs to do stuff instead of me.
I need these horny teens to do this for me.
Except most of them are almost 30 in canon. It's weird. But, I don't know. I love the idea innately of this Robin is so up that he does hallucinate his dad, literally, like just in random places. Constantly
relatable,
constantly critiquing him and just undercutting everything, and it's so distracting in the scene. Whereas you, the viewer, want to reach through the screen and punch him in the face and tell him to shut the hell up. I loved that, and then they undercut all of the usefulness out of it just because they wanted to flex having Batman on the show. Anger. The show does anger me less than the first season did, but 0.5 is not much of an improvement.
I think that Bruce Wayne should have, like, those leg and arm enhancements on at all times, because that would make sense.
Kind of would.
Like,
I mean, when he's
like
not
Kingdom Come.
I don't know. I feel like that's a little further gone than they're trying to go for, because I think the actor is like 55.
But I think they should still have it, because he...
Maybe a little bit.
Literally just because how he looks.
Not like the neck brace.
No,
but like
no.
just the joints.
I mean, yeah, I just mean joints, like Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, like
that's what I mean.
When he's Batmaning, he needs mechs.
Not just with Batmaning, but like just he already has it on at all times. Just because Bruce Wayne is always Batman, right?
Yes.
So Bruce Wayne always has the ability to fight crime, even if he's not in a bat suit, right?
Yes.
Right. For the most part, he's able to defend himself, right? So if he's always Batman all the time, he should probably have that on him at all times.
But I think
he's obsessive in that way.
I think honestly that's one of those things where you have to go aesthetically, this is going to make the show look a lot worse, and we probably should.
They don't have to show it, they just have to imply it.
I suppose.
Like oh, I'm fixing my shoe and my sock, you can see a brace.
That would be good.
right there.
My
literally.
last point I have to get into, because this show is going towards Red Hood trajectory, again implied by pretty clear by the season 3 trailer that we just talked about. So Jason Todd gets suicidal by the end of the season and is literally on a roof.
Suicide is badass.
He's gonna join the Suicide Squad.
So essentially, in the narrative, for various reasons, there's a mole in the team, and everyone thinks it's him, and it's so out of nowhere because like Hawk and Dove don't really like him, particularly Hawk. He thinks he's a little snot, and I get that. Jason's written to be annoying. He's well intentioned, but he's a loudmouth.
Because Jason's always been annoying as a kid.
Also true.
You're saying there's one imposter among them?
Yes. It's also one that only has one eye. It's really big. Imagine the one who's giving Deathstroke information is his child. Gasp, what a twist. But point being,
Shocked.
they bully the shit out of him. Like, he literally storms off after
They're all fucking toxic
the
as shit.
entire group. Dick probably the only one who didn't get really hammy on it, and Beast Boy, because he had no role in that at all. He was like the only one.
I love Beast Boy. Like, he actually has heart.
Yeah.
Like a heart.
Yes, everybody that was in that room at the time, so almost the entire team, excluding Superboy, just relentlessly beat the crap out of him verbally, and he starts breaking down. He freaks the hell out, and he just leaves. Dick's like, no, Jason, don't go. I'm failing as a pseudo-father figure crap. And then stuff happens. We find out most of it's actually Dick's fault, because of course it is. It's Dick Grayson, the show. And then Dick goes to find Jason, because he's been missing for hours, and he finds him on the roof. Likely place you'd find him after an encounter like that, with how screwed up this kid is after multiple near-death encounters, blah, 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 whatever. And they don't address it at all. Like, after Dick talks him down off of the roof, they never address it again. And I think that felt really shitty. That felt really disingenuous. Like, we're gonna go there, but have none of the actual work or depth of dealing with stuff like that. They never apologize. They don't go over it. It's proven that he was innocent. They don't care. And then it never gets resolved. He gets betrayed by Rose, and then he leaves at the end of the season, and he's going to go off and be Red Hood and shenanigans, which I think is an interesting setup. It just is like, holy crap. And then they're on the roof, and then the Bruce Wayne freaking hallucination is still there. That bothered me. There's this moment where, Dick goes up, he looks over, he sees Bruce. Bruce is like, go talk to the kid, whatever. He makes like he gives him a look. And then Dick's like, okay, Dad. And then Bruce disappears. And that's the end of the hallucination. It's like, that is the most ham-fisted, disgusting thing I've seen. If you're going to go to that point of Dick needs to be vulnerable with someone else, he needs to actually take on the role, being a father figure, blah, 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 then you don't need to have that moment. You can just have him go up on the roof. Maybe you hear Bruce in his head or whatever, and then you never see Bruce again. You don't have to have him literally disappear the moment Dick decides to be vulnerable. It's so gross. I don't like it. That makes me upset, clearly. That whole sequence of events is cool in concept and gross in execution.
Well, speaking of gross in execution, let's talk about the show and its finances, because we are three broke dudes sitting around a microphone, and we're trying to keep the show going. And there's a couple of people helping us out with that. Jeff Lawrence and Wesley Eaton, and a super special shout out to our original, the one and only Business Casual.
Our patron saint has decided to increase their pledge for no additional benefits. You're an absolute nutcase, but thank you.
We appreciate it very greatly. You will be hearing more about this later.
That's very ominous.
Vague.
I thought I was going to say something. I've got nothing. I wanted to say something, I don't know, just to chime in, but I can't think of anything.
Also, we are supported by our our partners in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire, Jetpack Comics and Games. They have a wide selection of, you guessed it, comics and games and all kinds of other stuff. That's really cool. Collectibles and statues and posters and you name it, it's probably there somewhere. Go
Yeah.
check them out.
Yeah, dude.
We appreciate all the support. If we have a new listener out there that would kindly consider supporting us, they can go over to patreon.com/dimecomicbros. We have several tiers. Maybe one of them's just right for you. It is definitely not a one-size-fits-all.
We should get onesies, though,
Yes.
to go over Colin's diaper.
Yes. I need a butt flap.
I have one with a butt flap.
Do you?
I do.
He really
Is it a
does.
bright red one?
No. It's a Batman one, I believe.
Uh-huh. So feel free to follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We post there all the time, sharing some news bits, sometimes stuff we don't cover on the show, updates about our content, teasers, blah, blah, blah.
I
You know.
uploaded not one but 2 Patreon specials this week.
You did. I mean, one of them's less than a minute long, but it's funny. So
It is comedic gold.
gold, like us, gold diggers. So please go over to Patreon and give us money. We need money. We are greedy little goblins. So next week, all three of us will be discussing All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder, the mini-series ? From Frank Miller and Jim Lee. This one's going to be spicy. If you have any information you would like to send us, whether it be questions, complaints, concerns, memes, and if for some reason you are some inside the industry scooper, or, I don't know, a leaker or whatever, feel free to send us some information because we're small and could use the clout, to be honest. And also I love reading through leaks because I love ruining things for myself.
It's true, he's done it for years. I just feel like I have cat hair in my nose all the time now.
Test, test.
These nuts?
These nuts? We got the midnight giggles and it's 7 o'clock.
You are racist against scrotum.
Racist against Spencer.
Yeah, you are.
The nice thing is the news is long, so we can cut short.
Oh,
I'm so weak. I'm so weak. I need to get out. I need to go.
For the recording, Colin just sneezed on my leg.
He's just down here like.
He returns to monkey.
Yeah. When I have other people who are less serious than me, then I have to be more serious.
He thinks he has to be.
It's called balancing the dynamic, you f***tard.
It's called balancing the dynamic, you tard. Kiss me on the lips?
No.
Mayoral?
Mayoral.
I used to wear onesies as a kid, and then I stopped because I nicked my pee-pee. Because for some reason I wore them without underwear.
You did not treat your genitalia well as a kid.
I really did not. I still don't.
Oof.